Hello everyone, Simon here and welcome back to our ARCHMINE100 series where we're learning about architectural concepts through Minecraft. And if you're really quiet, you can hear the gentle sound of water in the background. Kind of. That's the fountain! Alright, so in this video we are going to build some roads. Exercise number 8 is over here. Let us grab the instructions as is tradition. And destroy the instructions as is also tradition, and read a little bit. So exercise 8 is roads. Your task is to improve the roads around the exercises. Well, that's pretty basic. The purpose is to learn about the importance of good infrastructure and the value of roads as public spaces. Notes, I have left a space of 9 meters between each exercise. If this seems like a lot of space, try planting trees on the side of the road. Roads are bigger than most people realize. They are bigger than most people realize. If you remember back in the lecture, I said that 1/3 of the surface area of the typical American city is roads. 1/3! They take up more space than you realize. Aside from just a paved surface to walk on, there are other possible objectives you may wish to consider, such as making the roads look good, keeping landmarks visible so people don't get lost, lighting and signs in a variety of styles. Don't just focus on how the roads look, step back and consider what effects the roads have on the surrounding buildings and vice versa. Sometimes it is better to have a plain-looking road so as not to distract from the landmark building or from a landmark building. So things to think about as you build your roads. And as I'll say again, roads are not the most fun thing to build. I mean, well, you'll see what happens. Maybe I'm biased, but you'll see what happens. So we have quite a few buildings already. Usually in the city, you build roads before you build buildings. In this city, we build our buildings before we build the roads, which is a little bit weird, but I've put the soul sand here. I think you've noticed by now. You walk more slowly on the soul sand than off it. This is what happens when you have bad roads, is that it turns into mud, or just, maybe it's full of potholes or something, and it actually makes you walk more slowly or make you travel more slowly than you would if you didn't even have a road. So good roads are important. Keeping roads in good repair is important. More important than most people usually kind of consider. Most people don't really think about roads very much. I mean, I've played some Minecraft servers before, and almost always people don't bother building roads when they play Minecraft on the server. Because they build their house and then, oh, that's my house. They don't think to build stuff for other people sometimes. And maybe in a better managed Minecraft server it's different. But often people just build their own things and they don't think about the spaces between their things. If you build a house in a house, then you kind of need to build the stuff in between as well. Alright, so we've got roads. There's not that many buildings in the city, to be honest, so the roads aren't that extensive. Now, how should we do this? How should we do this indeed? I'm thinking the area around the city center should have very heavy duty and high capacity roads. So maybe between the shops and the road, maybe the whole thing should be just a road. 9 blocks of road. I need to design it a little bit though. I don't want to just put a patch of stone or something down and call that a road. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 9 blocks is actually all the way to there. Let me just count the blocks. Make sure it is 9 blocks. I said 9 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, it's 9 from build to build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. What color should we make the roads? I mean, modern day roads are often black because that's the color of tarmac. And the color of tar, wow, that clay, I mean, that block of coal was really black. So often it's black. It often looks kind of like that. It's just black. Because of the material, not because people like black roads, but because, tar looks like that. We do have a choice though. We don't have to do that in our roads. Red sandstone? I keep wanting to use this, but I don't really like the color. But maybe... I don't know, it looks like clay. What can we use for roads? These stones are probably a little bit too fancy for roads, although the andesite might be suitable. I mean, it's really grey though. We use that as just a lot of grey. Alright, I might use the andesite for some parts. It's kind of like bluestone. People call it bluestone, but it's not really blue. But bluestone apparently is really nice to walk on. Like it feels nice to walk on. Apparently, I mean, it's just a stone to me, but bluestone paving is apparently pretty good. So cobblestone. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the cobblestone patterns. I mean, bricks can be in herringbone patterns, and then cobblestone can be this. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a fan, like overlapping fans. The pattern of the cobblestone. If you've seen that pattern before, if you know what the name is, I'll be interested to know what the actual name of that pattern is. But that's really interesting, but we don't get to do that in Minecraft, unfortunately. We can have brick roads. We already have a lot of bricks, so maybe not. Never mind the brick roads. Maybe some of this clay. Maybe colored clay is suitable. Yellow clay roads, possibly. What does the prismarine look like? Let me just see what the prismarine looks like. Or just hardened clay, not colored clay. Let me, so what does that look like? I mean, that light gray is okay for a road, I think. It's not the most beautiful thing in the world. That's too fancy, that's too fancy. Maybe just the colored clay? It looks like just dirt though, it looks like kind of mud. Unfortunately, tarmac might be our choice. Black and grey, I don't know if I want black roads. Just tarmac, it seems really ugly. But maybe that's just how it's gonna have to be. At least around here. How can we make it better? What if we put trees in the middle of the road? So I said if you think 9 meters is a lot for a road, I mean if you just kind of compare this with what you might see if you look out your front door at the street outside, you know that this is not as wide as the street outside your front door. Probably, maybe it is. Maybe your street is really narrow. But you know, you can't even fit 2 cars across here, can you? You can fit 1.5 cars on here. So even just a 2-lane road would be maybe 15 meters wide at least. So roads are really, really wide, and if you want to put a tree in the middle, it's going to take up the entire road basically. What to do? What to do? Do I really just want ordinary roads? Alright, well, let's try it. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea, but what if we just have real ordinary roads? Do I want a line in the middle? Maybe not even a line in the middle. Do I really want just a rectangle of this stuff? Ew. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see how this goes. Let's put this around the entire town square. See how this looks. It's probably gonna look terrible, but you know, what are you gonna do? So this is gonna take a long time because we have to shovel all of this out and then put it all back in different materials. And you know, as you build the road, just think about what you're doing and think about what a pain it is to build roads. And then think about the people who build the roads in your city, you know, the guys who are in the high-vis clothing on the, you know, working on the roads. And when you see a roadworks, most people just, you know, get angry because they're trying to get from point A to point B, and there's a roadwork in the way, and then it slows them down, and they get annoyed. Like nobody respects traffic engineers. Like nobody respects people who build roads. But it's so important, you know? I mean, imagine if you don't have a road. So these guys are like they're doing really critical work for the city. And they don't really get the respect they deserve. Because everybody just wants to go home in time for dinner instead of being stuck in a traffic jam. Similar things can be said for other infrastructure, like nobody praises the electricity when they have it. It's like, oh yes, thank you city workers for electricity. And nobody says that. Nobody wakes up and say, oh yes, I have running water today. You know, and nobody gives them that much respect on normal days. And then if it ever breaks down, then they complain. Like if you flip on the switch and the light doesn't come on, there's a power cut, and then you get angry about it. So the people who kind of work on these infrastructure things, they don't get praise when they do it right, and then they get, you know, angry people when things go wrong. And that's basically the story of their lives. And you know that people can't live without their infrastructure, right? You know that people can't live without their electricity and their water and all that. Or they'll have a very hard time. Imagine if you turn on the tap and there's no water, and it goes on for days and days. People might actually start dying. You know, people might actually start dying from poor hygiene or just a lack of clean water. Or, you know, if the sewage is blocked up and doesn't get cleaned up, people might actually just start getting diseases and start dying. Because infrastructure is that important. But nobody just wakes up in the morning and says, thank you for running water, or something like that. You know what? The next time you see like somebody who's doing one of these jobs, even a janitor, next time you see a janitor, like, just kind of tell him he's doing a good job because he's dealing with your crap, so you don't have to. Literally, that's what janitors do. Deal with your crap. How do we feel about this road? Wow, that is the ugliest patch of black tarmac that I've ever seen in my entire life. This is truly bad. I mean, black is just so black. Let me change my mind and just switch over to like a cobblestone slab in the middle. Wow, nobody wants to see any of this. I mean, this is realistic because it's just black. But really, who wants to walk out into that sort of street? Ugh. But this is the city. Like, this is what city roads look like. It's just tarmac. It's just black. I guess they paint white lines on it. Not that it makes it any better, but... I mean, you're literally like driving on cold tar. It's kind of gross if you think about it. Oops, just let me stop putting holes in the dirt. Let me just put cobblestone in here. I know it turns into something really grey if I do that, but let me just do that, see how we feel. I'm not gonna put street trees. So the idea is the roads around the city square will be like the busiest parts of the city. So it will just be wide paving, maybe not even room for, definitely not room for street trees, but probably not even room for like a bit of grass next to the sidewalk. That's a little bit unfortunate, but I'm gonna pretend like this is the main area. I mean, if you go into the middle of a busy city like New York or Hong Kong or something, usually there aren't that many street trees. Although there are exceptions, you know, like Paris. Although Paris is not that high density. Melbourne is, well, I was gonna say it's well known for wide streets, but I don't know if you're not an urban designer, you're not a planner, maybe you don't know that Melbourne has really wide streets, because when they first planned it, the guy who planned it decided to put in really wide streets in case the city grew in the future. And so Melbourne, if you ever go to Melbourne, you go to the city center and there's like really wide streets, enough space for cars and trams and pedestrians and everything. So that's pretty good in terms of planning. Like they were planning ahead for sure. But then if you kind of go out of the city a little bit, even just to the neighboring suburbs, you'll find these really wide streets that are really a lot wider than they need to be, because when they first planned the city, they left all this room for these streets. And the city hasn't quite grown to the extent that they've filled in all the streets yet. So even now, like, Melbourne still has room to grow and has still room for the roads to become significantly busier than they are now. Kind of crazy the amount of space they left for their roads in the city. People usually don't do that sort of thing because the land is expensive, so you just want to have just have the roads that you need, and then everything else you just have buildings, because buildings get you money and rent. Whereas roads don't give you any rent, and so you don't really want to pay for the roads that you don't need. But Melbourne is slightly different. Set time, set day. But some cities were just, they just predate cars, and so people just never ever expected there to be cars and trams. A lot of old European cities, for example, were laid out long before there were cars. Some of them were laid out back in the medieval era or earlier, and so nobody knew anything about cars. They had people and horses and carriages and stuff. And so a lot of those older cities, or just towns, they don't have enough space for cars. That's why European cars are so small, because some of European streets are really small. Which is kind of interesting. Is that better? It's really grey. It's really grey. It's depressingly grey. It is so grey. Look how grey it is. It is, grey. What can we do? Polish granite. Diorite. What can we do? I don't know. There's no moss stone slabs. What can we do about this? I don't know. We've already used brick. We already used stone brick in the town square. The sandstone. I want to use sandstone though. What to do? What does dark prismarine look like? That's the strangest thing. Can we use that on our streets? Is that weird? Let me try this. This is way too grey. Maybe this stuff is okay. But roads are boring though, even in real life. They're just concrete and tarmac. I don't know, I'm trying to make this look good. When in reality, this is exactly how roads are. Grey and boring. Usually, sometimes. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that, because they can be a lot better. The problem here is that I actually haven't left you enough space. So if you're kind of trying to design roads in this exercise and you're wondering why you can't do a good job of it, it's because I haven't given you enough space. Like if I gave you 4 times as much space for the roads, then you can put in trees and sidewalks and grass and flowers and everything. But you can do something really interesting with it. I actually have not given you anywhere near enough space to make these roads. But at the same time, if I gave you the actual real sizes of roads, it'll seem like it's, way too big. I don't know. This is not happy. I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about any of this. I don't know, guys. I'm literally stuck. I am literally stumped. What on earth should I do here? Normal, not the polished stuff, the normal granite, the normal diorite, and the andesite. How's this stuff? That's really coarse though, look at that. Well, maybe... How does that look? I mean, that's still grey, you know what I mean? And this is still grey. So, it's just different kinds of grey. Do you like grey or grey or grey, guys? I don't know. That blue, or the green, blue-green, I'm not sure about that. But this stuff really is just the same color as this stuff, so I don't know about that neither. I've run out of materials, guys. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Colored clay? Red sandstone? I mean, I don't like the color there. Red sandstone? I don't know. Maybe? Should we try the red sandstone? Or should we just use brick? There's a lot of brick there already, but maybe brick, actually. There are actual brick roads, and maybe it's okay to have more brick. Let me try the brick. You'll notice that a lot of these materials are building materials, and not exactly paving materials. Oh, that's the other one. We can use the stone slabs. That's actual, like, they're like actual pavers, although these are like actual pavers, but they're too grey maybe. Let me try the brick, and just see if it's too much brick. And then let me try the double stone slabs. That's a lot of brick. That is an insane amount of brick. I mean, there's already brick, and then I'm adding more brick. I mean, if it's just a road, it's not a big problem, but the fact is that the square is already a lot of brick. No. Let's try this stuff. Double slabs. I think if I do that and then pick up this block, nope, I'd have to do each slab by itself. Or maybe if I drop this, pick that, nope, I have to do each slab by itself. So it's grey again, but it's a different shade of grey. It's lighter than this, because this is exactly the same shade as that, which is exactly the same shade as that. Look at that, it's the same shade of grey. That's the problem. This is a lighter shade of grey, so maybe that's gonna be okay, I don't know. Let me try it out. Maybe I shouldn't have left the roads until exercise 8. Maybe I should have gotten you guys to do this earlier. Because we're literally running out of materials to use. If we want to make this look interesting. Alright, just going to do this. It's going to take twice as much work because it's half at a time. Alright, come on. I'm not making this sound very interesting, is it? I'm just going, not enough colors. So much work. But it is. Roads are not fun. Building roads is not fun. So again, if you see somebody building roads, just tell them they're doing a good job. Tell them they're doing a good job. Thank you for building that road so I don't have to do it myself. Be thankful for your infrastructure workers. Alright. This is kind of better. It's still exactly grey, but it's a little bit better, I think. Better. Still extremely boring. Extremely boring. Alright, we'll do that and then we'll figure out the rest. Because there are still other roads. I'm not even leaving room for the roads to go that way. So let's do this. And then we'll figure out the rest in a little bit. Might as well just dig up the entire perimeter and then lay everything at once. Alright, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh wow, it's 9. It's all the way here. It's actually in the beach. Is that, are you serious? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, well. There's gonna be... one, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6, yeah, okay, well. We're gonna put this road right next to the beach. Although, I'm not sure if we're gonna do the same thing around the corner though. It's a bit weird to have square corners. Especially in the modern day, where we have cars. Usually you want to round the corners so the cars can turn the corner easily. Although even here, there's sort of there are things to consider. The thing is, if you round the corners so that it's easy for cars to turn, what happens is that the cars will turn really fast, and then that will be dangerous for pedestrians. Like if cars are allowed to turn very quickly, so if the corners are really smooth and they turn really quickly, then it becomes a danger for pedestrians to try to cross the road. So it's not always a good thing to have, you know, roads that are optimized for cars. Sometimes people deliberately, or like, you know, road engineers deliberately make the roads slower, which is to say, you know, less easy to drive, so that the cars have to drive slower, so then the pedestrians are safer because they're driving slower. So that happens. Let me fill that corner a little bit. Alright, so there's a little bit of rounding, not too much rounding. Or not too much, you know, smoothing out of the curves. And then we'll put the rest of the paving in here. Great. I mean, it's okay. It's just really grey, isn't it? Alright, let's keep digging. It's gonna take a while. Especially if I keep doing that. So on this side, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it actually goes all the way to here. So this glowstone is a bit odd in that position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, well let me just come back here. It was here, right? Oh crap. It was here that like the road extends all the way out. 9 blocks. No, it doesn't. Wow. Oops. That was a mistake. Let me just put the sand back, and in fact let me just put the sand all the way back and just have a continuous bit of sand here next to the road. Oops, never mind. Never mind everything you just saw. Okay, so it's here. The road is here. I think I do want the sand up to the level of the road anyway. It's kind of weird that there's like the side of the road above the sand otherwise. Alright. We're just shoveling away. Is it faster to use a... Let me just... It's not actually faster to use a shovel, right? No, it's not. We're just digging a road. And I guess as we do this, you can have a look at the other buildings, like the statue of the elephant. I'm actually slightly surprised by how well the elephant turned out. I mean, it really does look like an elephant. Because it's not easy to build a statue out of blocks and stairs and squares, like... But that elephant turned out pretty well, look at it. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Wonder how you guys did when you did the exercise, how your animals turned out. I'm not sure if I'll do the port as well. I did say in the I did say in the instructions that you may consider upgrading the port a little bit. I might just leave it. I mean, it's one of those exercises where if you start it, you probably end up spending more time than you expect. Because the port is completely out of scale, like that boat is way too small, and the port is way too small. So if you touch the port, chances are that you end up making everything a lot bigger if you want it to be realistic. And that's why I'm not gonna touch it. Alright, come on. Shove them away. Like, you see how boring this is? You see how boring building a road is? You just, you know, dig a patch of ground and you put it back in a different shape. And the thing is, the road, or, you know, typically roads are just the same. You build kilometers and kilometers and kilometers of roads and they're all the same pretty much. So you don't really design anything, you just put it down. Just put down the concrete and the tarmac and the gravel, and it's the same the whole way through. Like, you spend weeks on it and it's just all the same, so you don't design anything. You don't make up anything new, you're not solving any problems, you're literally just putting down the road. This is not fun, but you should do it. It's not fun, but you still need to do it. Like, you're not gonna have a serious city if you don't have a road. Imagine that. Imagine a city in real life and like, oh, we don't have roads because it's too boring. We couldn't be bothered building roads because it's boring. Now, no one's gonna take your city seriously if you're like that, so you kinda have to do it for your city. And everybody complains when there's a road work. You know, when it's holding up traffic, everybody complains. But everybody uses the road every single day. I guess, optionally, you could have made this town square smaller in order to have wider roads. Like, when you look at it like this, it seems fairly wide, but it's not really. Like, once you start putting the road in, there's not really that much space for the road. You could have made the road wider by making the square smaller, but then the square would be too small. I really didn't leave enough room with the roads for anything realistic. So, I hope you guys are okay with that. Almost there. We're almost there. But this is only the start. Like, once we finish this part, we still have to build all the side roads. What's gonna happen is that we're gonna do a whole lot of work. We're gonna spend maybe like an hour or 2 hours on this thing. And then at the end, it's not gonna be very impressive. So I'm just gonna tell that to you now. I guess I could have told you that at the beginning. But I'm gonna tell it to you now, like, you're gonna spend a lot of time building roads for this exercise. And chances are, you won't be very pleased with the outcome. And that is the reality of building roads. That's just how it is. But it's important. It is critically important. Like, we spend a whole lecture talking about the importance of infrastructure and how it benefits trade and communication and the exchange of cultures and, you know, how people need to travel from place to place. Trade is so important to civilization, you don't even know. Everything you use, like just look around your table or wherever it is you're playing this video game from, or watching this video from. The computer you're looking at, unless you're, I don't know, in China, living next to a computer factory, you probably imported that computer from the other side of the world. Like everything you have is like made somewhere else in the world. And it's brought to you because of trade, because somebody transported it on roads to a shop near you, and then you drove a car to the shop to buy it. I don't know, maybe you took public transport, I don't know. But it's all roads. Roads everywhere. Roads are important. People don't even think about it. Oops. Let me try and get this sorted out. These slabs. There's no block for these stone slabs. You literally have to put down half at a time, so you have to do double the work. I don't know if we're gonna have enough space for street lights. I kind of want street lights. But if you imagine we put down street lights, there's gonna be very little room. The sidewalk's gonna be like 1 meter, and then there'll be street lights on one side. I think I want street lights anyway, so that's gonna be fun when we have to try to do that. Fit all of that in. But we'll try to space out the street lights in a way that makes sense and looks good. Let's do things one at a time though. And when you walk, look at that. You don't actually line up the placement of the blocks. If you just walk back like that. Why not? You know, why would you... Like if you walk a little bit faster or if you place a little bit slower, then it would line up, but it doesn't line up. I'm just looking for things to talk about now because we're just putting down blocks. We're not doing any designing at all. Let me just come over here. I mean, it's better though. Obviously, once the roads are in, it's going to be better than what we had before, which is so sand. And so sand is terrible. Probably should just leave space there. This was going to be like this, wasn't it? And then continue that way. Let me just put that in. Whoa. If you get the rhythm down, I guess you can, you know, avoid having to relay things like that. It was gonna be like this, like that. Do you walk faster diagonally? You don't, do you? Never mind. Alright, here we go. And back. Put down so many blocks just for roads, and they're not even all that interesting. It's just paving all the way around. Better than soul sand, but a lot of work. Alright, let's continue. Oops. Let me just clear that out. Make it easier in the future. But a glowstone is quite weird. And then there, and then there. Alright. And then all the way back. all the way back again. this is so incredibly boring. I mean, I guess this is why people don't build roads on Minecraft servers. Because man, this is so boring. You know what? Even if you're just playing Minecraft, if you see some guy on your server building roads, give him a cookie or something. Give him a diamond. He deserves it. Or her, whoever it is. Give them like a chicken for their efforts. Or if you do it, then good for you. Good on you if you're the guy who's building roads in your Minecraft server. I guess if you get a bunch of friends and work together, it's not quite as bad because it goes faster with more people, right? And really, you shouldn't be having to build the entire city's road by yourself, because the city belongs to everybody. I mean, in the real world, what happens is that you have to pay taxes, and then your taxes, part of it goes into building the roads. So everybody pays. Oh, that's the thing that I didn't really talk about in the lecture, really. Is like how roads get funded. You pay taxes for the roads, and then the city builds it. But because everybody uses the roads and everybody benefits from the roads, even if you don't like you just kind of stay at home all day and you don't use the roads very often, you still benefit from the roads because, like, you know, the things that you buy at a shop, for example, they're delivered to the shop on the roads. And you know, if you kind of receive a letter in the mail is delivered on the road, right? Or if you call the police, or you know, if your house is burning down, you call the fire station. The firefighters come to you on the road. So even if you don't, you know, you think, oh, I don't really need roads. That's silly, first of all. But if you really believe that, you're wrong, because like even like other people who you need use the roads. So roads are one of those things where everybody uses them. And it only makes sense if everybody kind of pays for them through their taxes, because if you say, because you know, if some people don't pay for them but they still use them, then it doesn't really work out because it becomes too expensive, or becomes unnecessarily expensive. Although maybe there is an argument for, you know, some people who use the roads more than others. It's one of those things where you can't, you know, it's I guess all infrastructure is like that. I guess, you know, water, electricity, it's not a it's not a luxury, right? It's a necessity. Whereas, you know, if you can't afford diamond rings and sports cars, then you just don't buy them and you're perfectly fine. If you don't have water or electricity, that's not really fine. That's really not fine. So it's not one of those things where you can just say, oh, well, I can't afford it, therefore I'm not going to use it. I mean, if you don't use it, then you're never going to afford it. Like, how are you going to get a job if you don't use the roads to get to your job to work? And that's another thing too. I'm going to talk about this a little bit in a future lecture, but one of the most important things for alleviating poverty is actually roads and public transport. Like, you wouldn't really think that would be the case. Like, why would public transport help poor people? Well, because it allows them to get to their jobs. I mean, if you don't have a car, or you don't have a very good car, and cars are expensive anyway, then, you know, your job opportunities are quite restricted. Unless you have some way of, you know, getting around the city, and that's where public transport comes in. So whereas, you know, if you don't have transport, you can only go to jobs that you can walk to, which is, you know, hardly anything. If you have good public transport, then you can access jobs all over the city, which basically means that there's a lot more opportunities for people, which is good. And, you know, maybe after they get a job, then they can afford a car, you know what I mean? Like when you're first starting out and you don't have a job, you don't have money, you can't afford a car, so you kind of just have to, you know, what are you going to do? Use public transport. And then when you start having a car, then people think, well, I have a car, why do I need to pay taxes for the public transport? It doesn't really work like that. You kind of have to. I mean, if you kind of look at it from a selfish point of view, just from your own point of view, yeah, okay, when you don't use the buses or the trains, then why are we paying tax money to build trains? But that's the only way it works for the entire city. I mean, if you don't have good public transport, you don't have good infrastructure, the whole city kind of just falls to pieces. And that's not really good for you, neither. I mean, it comes back in a roundabout way, but the benefits of it comes back in a roundabout way. So, it's not as straightforward as, oh, I'm using this now, I'll pay now. I don't use it later, I don't pay later. It's really not that simple. Because, I mean, roads, if you say, okay, today I need roads, hey, can you build a road for me now? Well, it doesn't work like that, because it takes ages to build a road. Look how long it's taking me to build this road right now. It's taking me ages to build this road. So you kind of have to build the road before you need it. So you have to pay for it before you need it. And you have to keep maintaining it even when you don't need it, because once you need it, you really need it. And you can't build it then. You can't just let it fall apart and then, oh, I need the road now, let's repair it. I mean, it's too late. So the way it works is that you kind of have to just make sure it works the whole time. To make sure the whole city works the whole time. Otherwise, things just fall apart. And then you don't have it when you really actually need it. I don't know if that's a very good explanation, but I'm trying to kind of talk about economics of infrastructure. Like, roads are so expensive. Like, if you ask one person to build it, they won't do it. But they're so useful, so once it's built, everybody uses it. Bunch of freeloaders. But that's exactly how it is. Like, if you ask people to build it, nobody's gonna build it because it's like boring and expensive. But once it's there, everybody uses it. It's like the internet. It's like, it's like water supply. It's like electricity. Nobody has the fun to build the whole thing from scratch. But once it's there, everybody wants to use it because it's so convenient. So what are you gonna do? How are you gonna fund it? Taxes. That's how. Alright, so we finally paved all the way around the city square. Oh, it's so boring. That is so boring. It's just a piece of cobblestone and paving. Oh no. It is the most boring thing in the world. Okay. Well, let's try doing some side roads. Maybe try to make it slightly less boring. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. How am I gonna make this slightly less boring? Do I just make it thinner? Do I just make a thinner road? 3 blocks wide? Down the middle? 3 blocks wide, 1 block of sidewalk, and then a bit of plants along the edge. Let's see how that looks. Daytime, because we don't have street lights yet. Once we have street lights, then we can do nighttime. It's gonna be a bit weird here. Do that. So basically just a thinner road. That's all it's gonna be, just a thinner road. I don't know if I want to put some trees on the edge. There's like, basically the trees are too tall. Maybe it's just some leaves, just some shrubs. Pretend they're shrubs. Alright, so first of all, there's gonna be that. Second of all, we're gonna need a little bit of paving where it joins up with the surrounding building. So here, like the stairs there. So basically we need paving there as well, like this. So that, the staircase is actually accessible from the sidewalk and not just behind a bunch of leaves. And, here, like this, although this is already a little bit weird back there, that's okay. I mean, on the other side of the statue, the staircase just goes down to nowhere. Which is a little bit odd, but there you go. And then on the other side, we don't have to access the building, so that's fine. And then maybe some shrubs, and then maybe some street lights. Let me just think about where I might put the shrubs and what kind of shrubs should we use. Oak leaves, spruce leaves, let's just check out how these leaves look. Let me just put that there, Spruce, birch, maybe the jungle leaves. The thing about the jungle leaves is that it's really thick. Acacia leaves, dark oak leaves, let's see how these look. So yeah, leaves, leaves. Okay, we need more of that. More leaves, leaves. Those just look the same. Is it me, or do these two just look exactly the same? Wow. I think they're the same. Maybe they haven't made new textures for the new trees yet. Alright, trees, trees. That's the same, just different colors. Jungle? Let's go with the jungle leaves because they're nice and thick. Alright, let's say for example we want some bushes. How will we do that and where will we do it? We can do it next to the road, or we can put it on the block behind the road. I kind of want to do it next to the road, but I also want to leave room for streetlights. And I don't want to close off the road. Maybe I do want to close off the road entirely. Alright, let me just drop that next to the roads. Just like that. Like, not even... Well, that's not bad. Surprisingly, it's not bad. It's a little bit strange here, but we're just gonna block that off. And then when we figure out, oh crap, when we figure out how we're gonna do street lights, we will put street lights in where they're supposed to be, in the leaves. So that's slightly better. That's slightly better. I don't know if there's about this tall grass back here though. It looks kind of scruffy, doesn't it? Maybe these should be leaves as well. Maybe I want this kind of jungle leaves everywhere. So there's a bit of vegetation on the side of the street, which is good. Everybody loves vegetation. Just drop that in there. That's great. Yeah, more leaves, why not? More leaves are good. Not too tall though. What we want to do is make sure that people can still see where they're going. And not be completely swamped by the bushes at the side of the road. I like that. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I feel like it's pretty effective. So there's like a main road which is wide, and then a side road which is slightly narrower. I like how that is. Oh, I can use different materials, can't I? Should I use different materials? Or just the same materials on all the roads? Let's just use the same materials on all the roads, keep it relatively simple. We just have to kind of go up the bush there, or up the hill there, and then up a slight hill there. Alright, let's just finish this off. I know it's not the most interesting roads in the world, but let's not be too concerned about that. I think this probably needs to just round the corner a little bit. There you go, that's nice. Alright, let's do that. And then here, we have to figure out how this joins. It's gonna be like that. But it's also going to be like that. I guess it will just join like this? I guess it will. I guess we'll just do that. Alright, fine. And we'll just build all the roads there. Look at all this soul sand. I mean, occasionally you have toll roads where, in order to build a road, the government basically has to, I guess, borrow money or involve a private company. And so they'll build a road and then you have to pay to use the road. Usually that can only happen if the road is like an optional thing. So imagine you might have, I'll use a real example. So across Tokyo Bay in Japan, Tokyo Bay, they put a bridge slash tunnel across Tokyo Bay, and it's a toll road. It's really expensive because the tunnel is so long and the bridge is pretty long too. So there's a massive toll road across Tokyo Bay, and in order to use it, you have to pay money. But it allows you to get across Tokyo Bay really quickly. I forgot what it was, but it went from several hours to like half an hour to cross the area. And so it's optional. I mean, if you don't want to pay the money, then you can take the long way and take several hours to do it. Or you can pay the money and get across in about, a fifth of the time or less. Just get there in like half an hour. So that, in that case, it's optional. You don't have to take the toll road. And I think really toll roads only work in those contexts. Although if you do the math, it probably makes sense to take the tunnel because not only is it time, it's also petrol or gas, as you Americans call it. So it's petrol or gasoline, as well as your time. So when you add up all the numbers, it probably actually makes more sense to use the road or use the toll road and not try to drive the long way. But there's other places where similar things happen. I think this should actually be dirt. And I think actually... Oh, that's fine. Let me see how this goes. Yeah, that's fine. One issue, I think New York... Are all the bridges toll bridges? Like, are there any way to get, from Manhattan? Is there any way to get off Manhattan without paying a toll? I'm not sure. That might be a bit of a scam because Manhattan is an island. And then you have bridges to get off the island, but then if you put a toll booth on every single bridge off the island, then it's like you have to pay a toll to get off. That seems like a little bit extreme to me. I don't remember if that's really the case, or if there's a way to not pay a toll to get off Manhattan. Can't really blame them too much because roads are expensive, and Americans hate taxes for some reason. Even necessary taxes, they just hate taxes, and so in order to pay for roads, then you have to have tolls. But the thing about it is, if you take taxes, then you are taking a percentage of people's money, which means that you take more money from rich people than you do from poor people. Whereas if you have a toll on a road, everybody has to use the road. So a rich person driving his limousine... Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? A rich person driving his limousine across the bridge is the same price as a poor person riding a bus. Well, not really. The buses will probably get a discount. But a poorer person who's not on a bus but it's driving, also has to pay the same toll as the rich person. Which you might think, well, they all use the road. Why don't they pay the same? Well, because the rich person benefits from the road more. I mean, if the rich person owns a business, then it's most likely that his business relies on the road, right? All his employees use the roads, rely on the roads. If he's kind of moving goods around, if he's kind of shipping goods anywhere, he's using the roads. Like, rich people benefit from the roads more, and if there's congestion, for example, if there are traffic jams, a rich person sitting in a traffic jam is going to lose more money than a poor person sitting in a traffic jam because the rich person's time is worth more money because, his pay is higher. So the rich person loses a lot more from bad roads than the poor person does. So if you add all of these factors up, what you get in the end is that, oh, I need to figure out how to do this. Oh, staircase time. So in the end, what you end up is that the rich person actually benefits from good roads much more than the poor person. Or, the good roads is more valuable to the rich person than the poor person. And so, what am I doing here? I think I should just kind of flatten the top of this a little bit. Yeah, and so the roads are worth more to the rich person. So why shouldn't he pay more? I mean, if a poor person gets paid, I don't know, $10 an hour, and he spends an hour in traffic, he loses $10 of wages. Whereas if the billionaire is paid like $10,000 an hour, sitting an hour in a traffic jam is costing him $10,000. Of course the rich person should pay more for the road. He gains more from not sitting in a traffic jam. You see what I mean? So you can't just say, oh, they're both using the roads, so they should just both pay the same. Because they're not in the same situation, man. The rich guy is benefiting so much more than the poor guy from having good roads. I'm gonna get a slope. Is that slope too gentle? That slope might be too gentle, my bad. Let me have a slightly steeper slope. And see if we can slope down this hill here. And again, the rich person, maybe he owns a company. I said this already. So I mean, if his employees are stuck in traffic, again, he loses so much money. Like maybe he has 100 employees, and if they all spend an hour in traffic, then it's their hourly wage times 100. That's the lost productivity. That's the opportunity cost of having bad roads on that guy's business. So rich people definitely use roads more than poor people, even if they don't use it personally more than poor people. But their business and and all the other things that they benefit from also require roads. So things aren't as simple as, oh, you use it, therefore you should pay for it. Nothing is ever that simple. Nothing is ever that simple. And nothing is ever like, oh, I don't use it right now, therefore I don't need it. Nothing's ever that simple neither. You probably use it later on. Is this good? I'm not sure if this is good or not. Let me just continue with this. It's supposed to be like a slope, but it's more like a staircase than a slope. Because there's no diagonals in Minecraft, therefore there's no slopes. That's okay. Let's see. Oh, that's alright. It's just it's just a staircase pretending to be a road. That's fine. And let me fill this in. Imagine being that billionaire. Imagine being worth so much money every single hour. And then being stuck in traffic. Ha! That must be so sad for that guy. Alright, so we don't need to extend the roads out much further than this because the city ends here. Until we build the monument, which is going to be all the way back there. Let me just end the road here, in fact. And then cobblestone here. This is probably going to end up to be a longer video, I think. Just because I want to finish the road. There's not going to be any design at all, so I'm just kind of rambling and building. but not really doing anything creative for the most part. So we're not really learning about design, I think we're more learning about the importance of roads, despite how boring they are. And it's an important lesson. I think it's an important lesson just to feel the the boredom of building a road, just so you understand what it is, so you know what it means. And maybe also, you know, despite how boring it is, how much better it is to walk on than that stupid soul sand that we had earlier, which is deliberately annoying. You know, when you kind of get a proper road to walk on, how amazingly good that is compared to soul sand. So that's just an important lesson to learn. Boring but extremely beneficial to your city. So don't ignore road building. I mean, I didn't really talk too much about it in the lecture, but the Roman Empire was successful partly because of the roads, partly because of other engineering things, but partly because of the roads. I talked about being able to move your military around and that being important. So, you know, imagine you're the Roman Empire. For some reason, you are the Roman Empire, and you have a large, sprawling territory that you need to defend from invaders. So what happens is you put legions around your territory. Like you put some legions in Spain, you put some legions in France, you put some legions in England, you put some legions in Africa even. And you kind of just put legions everywhere, right? So then one of the areas get attacked. What do? You move all your soldiers to defend, right? Now, if they attack you and they pillage all your villages within a month, then your soldiers are only useful if you can move your soldiers to defend in less than a month's time. Like if it takes more than a month for you to get there, then you might as well don't bother, because the invaders have already come and gone and taken all your loot. And you know, they're enjoying themselves far away. So if you can move your soldiers to defend your territory more quickly than the enemies can loot your base, then you are able to protect your territory, whereas if you can't get there in time, then there's no point. So you kind of put legions around, but let's say you have a legion in France, you have a legion in Spain, and maybe you have a legion in Italy itself, and then somebody attacks you in France, and you have good roads, right? So then your legions can march all the way from Spain to France in maybe like a week. And then you can march from Italy to France in a week. Then all of a sudden you have 3 legions defending that territory instead of just 1. And you're so much more effective. And that's the military value of good roads. It's just being able to move your soldiers around means that you are so much more flexible in what you can do to respond to being attacked, right? Actually, I think I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that. What else do I want to do? That's pretty much it. Alright, so we got a few more branches. So that's the military value of good roads. And again, you know, with all the other things I've been talking about, or like all the other things I've been talking about, you can't just build the road when you're attacked. Like, you know, if somebody's attacking you in France, it's too late to start building that road. So you really have to build that road beforehand and be prepared for the invasion. And of course, you know, you don't just build roads for your soldiers, of course. Although, you know, the Roman impetus for building roads was a lot of it based on military needs. But you know, trade also helps. So imagine it takes you, you know, a month to get from, let's say, to get from Italy to Spain by roads. Actually, why would you do that? That makes no sense. Imagine it takes you a month to get from Spain to France. Seems a long time, but let's say you have a lot of horses and you need to carry a lot of goods, so they kind of don't move that quickly. Or maybe they're oxen drawing carriages. Anyway, it takes you a month to get from Spain to France. So, every month you can take one load of cargo to France, and then another month you can bring it back. Which is okay. So 2 months you do one round trip, you buy and sell once, make a lot of money. But imagine they build much better roads, and all of a sudden it takes you half a month to get from Spain to France, and then another half a month to come back. So in the same 2 months, you can do the trip twice now. What does that mean? It means you're twice as profitable, because every time you do the trip, you buy and sell, you make money. So if you buy and sell once, you make one lot of money. If you can buy and sell twice, you make 2 lots of money. Basically, you're just doubling your profits because you're halving your transport time if you're a trader using those roads. So again, the roads are this money multiplier, this wealth multiplier. That's really powerful in your economy. But if you ask the trader to build a road, they can't do it because they can't afford to do it by themselves. Like, you need the Roman Empire, the whole empire, to kind of pull in their funds to build these roads. And maybe the guy in Rome is like, why am I paying money for the trader in Spain to make money? Like, why am I paying my taxes for him? No, but because the whole empire benefits. When the trader is able to kind of get his goods there and back more quickly, like, he makes more money, he pays more taxes, and he also kind of serves his population, and then maybe the population is happier and they rebel less or whatever it is. I mean, it's one of these things where the whole empire pays and the whole empire benefits, so you can't just look at it from the point of view of one person, or even one city, or even one province. I mean, if you look at it that way, you might as well just, be an independent province and not be in the empire. And that's not... I mean, you can do that, but the Roman Empire was successful, in ways that the individual provinces would not be if they weren't the empire. I didn't spend too much time talking about shipping, neither. Oh, trading, and while we're on the topic of trading, Constantinople, or Byzantium, or as it's known today, Istanbul, is one of the most important cities in human history because of trade. So, what am I gonna do here? I really should improve the port. I'll do it later. I don't know. Maybe I won't do it at all. But I mean, I'm looking at it now, and the port's just not very good looking, is it? So Byzantium, if you don't know where it is, it's located between Europe and Asia. It's kind of like right on the edge. It's located... Oops, I don't want to do that. It's located between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Is it the Black Sea? It is the Black Sea. And it's located between Asia and Europe. And so it was the center of a whole bunch of different trade routes. So famously, the Silk Road, all the way from China to Europe, went through Byzantium. And also any ships passing between the Black Sea and... actually, how do I want to do this? Any ships passing through the Black Sea and the Mediterranean also went through Byzantium, or Constantinople, or Istanbul. So it was literally the crossroads of the world. Like, a lot of trade routes passed through there. And that made Byzantium very wealthy. I mean, for one, it enables trading, so you can just buy and sell and make money that way. You can kind of take taxes from other travelers because they're using your roads and your services and whatnot. Okay, how do I want to do this? Let me just put the road there. And you know, it's just the center of trade, and so all the wealth of the world kind of concentrated in Constantinople. Up until the age of sail, when the European powers started to sail over the world and stop using the Silk Road, so they figured out how to sail around Africa, for example, to get to Asia. And so once they managed to do that, then they don't have to go through Istanbul anymore. And so then after that, that made the European powers a lot wealthier, because they became the powers that controlled trade, because they were the powers that controlled a lot of the shipping to the New World, to the Americas, to Asia. So then everything kind of flipped around, and the Europeans became really wealthy, again because of trade. I'm not really doing justice to the history, because there's a lot of detail I'm missing out. What I'm trying to say is trade is really important. Trade is wealth. Trade is money. That's basically that's all there is. And so anything that facilitates trade, like roads, is important. And you know, it's not just money too, it's also the exchange of cultures and knowledge. As people travel back and forth, they will share their knowledge sometimes, often. So you get new ideas, new technologies being transmitted around the world. I mean, if you're at the crossroads of the world, and everybody who wants to go somewhere has to go through your city, then all the newest knowledge and all the newest ideas also come through your city, right? Because all the people are coming through your city from all parts of the world, so it becomes the center of knowledge as well. It's just really, really important in all sorts of different ways. Nothing really to do with architecture. Nothing at all to do with architecture. But I guess infrastructure has a little bit to do with architecture. Do I want to put it on top of the ground? Maybe I do. Is this weird? It kind of is. Never mind, let's just continue. So it doesn't really have anything to do with conventional architecture the way you might think about it. But architects still get involved in things like building train stations and maybe ports and stuff like that. So occasionally architects also get involved with infrastructure things. And it's always important to get it right and understand the context. I mean, to be honest, I'm more interested in that stuff than in just straight architecture, just straight building buildings. But that's my opinion. Is that right? Never mind. Let's just follow the contours of the road here. That's definitely not right. It's kind of too low. That's okay. That's how the road is. If you are ever investing in a business or designing, maybe let's get back to architecture. If you're designing like a shop front or something, again you have to be aware that where the customers come from. Customers come from the street, and they see your shop fronts. So shop fronts and things like that, again, is very important to your clients if you're designing something that they hope will make money. Alright, streetlights. What on earth are we doing about streetlights? I have no idea what I'm doing now. Let's go glowstone. Let's go fences? What kind of fences do we want? Birch fences? 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks back. 4 blocks up. Nope, too low. 5 blocks up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Let's see how this works out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Was it the fourth one or the fifth one back? I don't even know if it was the fourth one back. And then the middle is here. Does that work? No, not really. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't really line up. Is that going to be a problem if it doesn't line up? It's an odd number. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I make this 5, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there'll be like 2 street lights right at the corner. That's a bit strange too. Alright, so this thing doesn't really line up very well. So I'm just gonna do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then light. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then light. 1, 3, 4, light. 2, 3, 4, light. I guess we do this. And then we do that. And then we figure out where the middle is. The middle is here. Doesn't really line up. Let's try that. And that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good enough for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Light. 2, 3, 4. Glowstone. 2, 3, 4 glowstone. So back when I was doing the town square, this is kind of why I didn't put in more lights on the edge of the town square. Like I put the 6 lights in the middle and then left the edge because I knew I would put street lights on the edge. So that's why I didn't put that, in the town square itself. I didn't actually say that, did I? In the video. Maybe I should have said it in the video at the time. But yeah, the reason I didn't put the lights, behind the trees or something is because I knew I would be doing the roads, and then there'll have to be street lights on the roads. I mean, it's not too bad. It's pretty boring. I mean, it's pretty ordinary. These roads. But once you start getting the lights in and all that, it's not too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, light. 5. Is that? Okay, I think that's right. 2, 3, 4 lights, and then at the tree, lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Light. If this video really is too long, I'm gonna just split it in the middle. I mean, usually I wanna have an outro and an intro between the videos, but maybe I'll just split it if it really is too long. I'm getting slightly carried away with this, to be honest. I keep complaining about how boring it is, and then, I just keep doing it, because it's actually not that boring. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Was it like this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that? 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. I mean, once you get it done, it's not really that bad, you know what I mean? It's not that boring. Two, 3, 4. I don't know if I want to put lights on the other side of the road as well. I think I do. I think I want to put lights on the other side of the road as well. Maybe I want to fix up the port a little bit. I have no idea what I would do though. No, it's not enough space. I'm just gonna ignore the port. Even though I gave you guys the option of doing something about the port. I don't necessarily need lights on both sides. Maybe I won't have lights on both sides. It seems... I feel like there's enough light just on one side. Yeah, there's enough light just on one side. So never mind. So, what are we gonna do about the side roads? I'm gonna put the lights on the temple side because like I don't want to have things near the statue too much. I kind of want the statue to be more freestanding. So I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe, and on the other side like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. I need to hope this lines up. Maybe it won't. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, it does not line up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me just put that there. Did I remove? I think I did. Let me just grab these back. Oh, should I do the bridge? I think I should do something about the bridge too. 3, 4. Because I mean, there's a bridge there. I guess it's part of the road network. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, and then that. I'll just do the same treatment on the bridge, alright? Nothing too fancy. So it goes up to there. And then that goes up to like there. I guess this should do that. This is odd there though because it kind of gets in the way of... Let me do that. Alright, that's better. It's not great, but yeah, that's better. I'll do that. I'm gonna leave that off. And then I just come across. Straight across. Nothing too fancy, but this will do. And then same thing on the other side. And then we need lights here as well. Maybe I should have proper railings on the bridge. Nah, never mind. Alright, so how do we do lights on the bridge? We might go 1, 2, 3, 4, and there. Actually, we do have... Maybe I should just line it up with the supports on the bridge. That probably makes the most sense. So let's go... there... 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 there, and there. 2, 3, 4, and light. 1, 2, 3, 4, and light. Alright, really simple bridge. Just really, really simple bridge. If you want to, you can make it a lot more interesting. But I think I'll just keep it simple. I wonder if those lights are too tall. They feel a little too tall. Maybe on the bridge they can be shorter. Let me try that. Yeah, the bridge they can be shorter. Let me just make these 1 block shorter. Alright, well there's a bridge. It really can be a lot more interesting than this, but Well, I mean, the whole city can be more interesting. I just don't want to spend too many hours on this. Oh, I've got this wrong. Why did I have this in front? 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, all of these exercises are in a way open-ended, so you can just go on and on and on if you want, and never stop. I don't recommend it, but you know, you can't spend forever doing these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright. Is that the same? Yep, that's all the same. Like you can kind of spend. I can easily spend twice as much time on the park, for example. I can spend an hour on the bridge. I can spend a lot more time on the temple. I can spend more time on everything, except maybe this, because there's not much we can do about light and shadow. And especially with the next two exercises, you can literally spend forever doing those. And I don't encourage you to do that. Although, you know, if you have time and if you're interested and if you're really that passionate about architecture, then good for you. Go and do it. Go and spend all your time making it as good as you can and making it worth something to look at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I certainly don't discourage you from spending more time if you want to. Because the truth is, the more time you spend, the better it's going to be. Although there is a bit of diminishing return. As in, you know, as you continue to spend more and more time, it doesn't necessarily get that much better for each, you know, hour you spend. But, you know, the more time you spend, the more you learn, and the better it's going to be. So definitely don't just stop because I stop. I mean, you can stop when you want to stop, but with design, like there's always a clear start. There's never a clear stop, unless you know you go past a deadline or your client kind of cuts your funding because you spent too much time on it. But you know, there's never really any real end to a design. You just say, well, okay, this is good enough, and I don't actually have enough money to continue or something like that, and then you just stop. But you can always spend more time. And that's one of the things that's really dangerous about architecture school. Because, you know, design is always open-ended. So you can always spend more time on your assignments. And some people just go completely insane with the amount of time they spend on their assignments. And that's really not the healthiest thing to do. Here it's going to be a little bit strange. We might just do 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What I'm gonna do here is actually have lights on both sides. Because here I think it'll be a little bit strange if it's asymmetrical. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not sure. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 light. And that's also weird because the light is right outside their rooms. So then, you know, at nighttime, it'll be really bright outside your window. At least it's not outside their bedrooms. But it can get quite annoying. Like imagine if there's like a street light right outside your bedroom. And you know, every night there's this bright light streaming into your bedroom and you can't sleep because of it. So that's not cool. So if you're designing a house in real life, try to avoid that sort of thing. Not always within your control. I mean, if the city council decides to put a new streetlight in for some reason, then that's not cool. But I mean, if it's already there, if the streetlight's already there, and you already know it's there, then you know to avoid it. Although I guess the rule of thumb basically is just to Time set night. I guess the rule of thumb really is just to put the bedrooms at the back of the house so that that sort of thing would naturally not happen very often. Alright, so we got one more set of lights, which is going to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I even count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's completely wrong. I want it to be 5 and 5 block gap. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then light. And then don't bother with the end of the road. 2, 3, 4. Street light. 2, 3, 4, and street light. You know what? Despite all that complaining, despite all that whining about how boring it is to build roads, I'm quite proud of what we got in the end. I mean, it's not much, like it's pretty ordinary roads, like it's just cobblestone and stone paving. But you know, the city is so much better with some decent roads instead of soul sand. Look how it just feels so much better, right? I mean, even if you look at it, it's not that much difference. I mean, look at all those cool buildings and look at that boring road in between the cool buildings. It makes a big difference, though. It does make a big difference. It's one of those, you know, it's like a what's a good example? I can't think of one off the top of my head. But it's like one of these really basic things that just makes everything work. You know? Alright, I'm gonna stop talking here. Maybe they could be better, I don't know. They're pretty good, the roads. Alright, so I'm gonna end the video here pretty much. I might actually have to cut this in half. I'll see how long it is. And in the next video, we're gonna talk about theatrics in architecture. So that'll be interesting. I'll see you guys in the next video.